Hi guys, good day. And good day also to Doc Baradillo. I hope you're all doing good while staying at home since it is the least thing that we can do to our country. So this day I will be discussing my report in syntax, specifically in chapter 8 entitled Agreement, Case, and Movement. So in this chapter, I will be discussing and outlining the claim of Noam Chomsky that the agreement involves the relation between probe and the goal. So let's start. Okay, so my topic again talks about the agreement, case, and movement. So in this chapter, we will take a look at the syntax of agreement. So we begin by outlining the claim of Noam Chomsky that the agreement involves a relationship between a probe and a goal. So, in traditional grammars, finite auxiliaries are said to agree with their subjects. We all know that. Since finite auxiliaries occupy the head T position of TP and their subjects are in spec TP, in earlier work agreement was said to involve a specifier head relationship between T and its specifier. So let's take a look in this sentence. There are thought likely to be awarded several prizes. So, from a descriptive perspective, a spec head account of agreement is problematic that it fails to account for agreement between the auxiliary R and the nominal several prizes in passive structures. So, since the auxiliary R, the auxiliary R, occupies the head T position of TP and the expletive pronoun there is in spec TP, a spec head account of agreement would lead us to expect that R should agree with there. But instead, R agrees with in situ complement several prizes of the passive participle awarded. So let's have this illustration, the structure. So the quantifier, this one, the several, merges with the noun prizes to form the QP several prizes. So this is merged as the thematic complement of the passive verb awarded to form the VP awarded several prizes. So this in turn is merged with the passive auxiliary be, this one, to form this to be the be awarded several prizes. So this is then merged with the infinitival tense particle to, this one, forming the TP to be awarded several prizes. So the resulting TP is merged with the racing adjective likely to derive the AP likely to be awarded several prizes. So this AP is subsequently merged with the passive verb thought to form the VP thought likely to be awarded several prizes. This in turn merges with the passive auxiliary BE forming the T-bar shown in simplified form where the notation BE indicates that the morphological form of the relevant item has not yet been determined. So, The tense auxiliary T, this one, needs to agree with an appropriate nominal within the structure containing it. And given the Pisetsky's earliness principle, which requires operation to apply as early as possible in a derivation, the T agreement must apply as early as possible in the derivation and hence will apply as soon as BE is introduced into the structure. So first, let's have the feature valuation. So let's think through rather more carefully what it means to say that case is systematically related to agreement and what the mechanism is by which case and agreement operate. So to illustrate our discussion, consider the derivation of a simple passive such as that produced by speaker B below. This one, the speaker A said, "What happened to the protesters?" And the speaker B said they were arrested. So here, discourse factors determine that a third person plural pronoun is required in order to refer back to the third person plural expression, the protesters, and that a past tense auxiliary is required because the event described took place in the past. So, as it were, the person number features of they, this one, of they, and the past tense feature of were are determined in advance before the items enter the derivation. So by contrast, the case feature assigned to they, this one, assigned to they, and the person number features assigned to where are determined via an agreement operation in the course of the derivation. So, yun. So, if the subject had been the singular pronoun one, the auxiliary would have been third person singular via agreement with one, as in one was arrested. And if they had been used as the object of the transitive verb, as in the police arrested them, it would have surfaced in the accusative form them rather than the nominative form they. So let's have this one. So the pronoun they is the thematic complement of the passive verb arrested and so merges with it to form the VP arrested they. This is in turn merged with the tense auxiliary be, forming the structure below, where already valued features are shown in bold, this one, and the unvalued features in italics. So these are the unvalued features. So given the Pisetsky's earliness principle, T agreement will apply at this point. The T agreement applies actually in this point. Let's suppose that agreement in such structures involves a C-command relation between a probe and a goal in which unvalued 5 features on the probe are valued by the goal. And an unvalued case, this one, the unvalued case feature on the goal is valued by the probe. So, ayun siya. So next, let's have the feature copying. So in consequence of the feature copying operation, the values of the person or number features of they are copied unto B so that the unvalued person and number features, this one, the unvalued person and unvalued number on BE and R assign the third person, the plural number, values carried by they as shown below, where the underlined features are those which have been valued via the feature copying operation. So let's have this one. So a second reflex of the agreement relation between BE and they is that the unvalued case feature the unvalued case carried by the goal they, this one, is valued by the probe BE. So that's with the feature copying. So now, let's move forward to the nominative case assignment. So since the person or number features of the probe BE match those of the goal they in, and since BE carries finite tense by virtue of its past tense feature, the unvalued case feature on they is valued as nominative, resulting in the structure shown below where the underlying features, the underlying, this one, is the one valued as nominative. So since all the features carried by BE are now valued, BE can ultimately be spelled out in the phonology as the third person plural past tense from where. So likewise, since all the features carried by they are also valued, they can ultimately be spelled out as the third person plural nominative form they. So ito siya. So however, the derivation is not yet terminated. So the EPP feature of T will subsequently trigger an A movement of they to become the structural subject of were. And the resulting TP, they were arrested, they will then be merged with a null declarative complementizer to form the structure null, they were arrested, they. So, but since our immediate concern is with case and agreement, we skip over these details here. So, yun siya, with a nominative case assignment. So now, let's move forward to the uninterpretable features and feature deletion. So one of these is that items may enter the derivation with some of their features already valued and others as yet unvalued. Say, for example, the BE enters the derivation with its tense feature valued, but its 5 features unvalued, and they enters with its 5 features valued but its case feature unvalued. So this raises the question of which features are initially valued when they first enter the derivation, which are initially unvalued, and why. So yun siya. So, according to Chomsky's 1998, he argues that the difference between valued and unvalued grammatical features correlates with a further distinction between those grammatical features which are interpretable. So, in the sense that they play a role in semantic interpretation, and those which are uninterpretable and hence play no role in semantic interpretation. So let's have these examples. It is said they were arrested. He expected them to be arrested. And lastly, he was shocked at their being arrested. So for example, it seems clear that the case feature of a pronoun like they is uninterpretable since a subject pronoun surfaces as nominative, accusative, or genitive depending on the type of bracketed clause it is in. This one, the clause bracketed it is in, without any effect on meaning as these examples. So ito siya, itong tatlo. No? So what is the feature value correlation? So feature value correlation, it is when interpretable features enter the derivation that are already valued, and features which enter the derivation unvalued are uninterpretable. So the correlation between valuedness and interpretability turns out to be an important one. So the correlation between valuedness and interpretability turns out to be an important one because it should be noted na, di ba, sabi ni Chomsky that it offers a rather different formulation to the effect that uninterpretable features enter the derivation unvalued, but his claim seems problematic. So, ganun yun siya. So, with this, we also have this feature visibility convention. So any uninterpretable feature deleted in the syntax is invisible to the semantic component but remains visible in the syntactic component and in the PF component. So the next question to ask at this juncture is, what kind of syntactic operation is involved in the deletion of uninterpretable features? So let's suppose that feature deletion involves the kind of operation outlined informally. So let's have this one, the expletive it subjects. So far, all the constructions we have looked at have involved a finite t agreeing with a noun or pronoun expression which carries interpretable person or number 5 features. So however, English has two expletive pronouns, which, by virtue of being non-referential, carry no interpretable 5 features. So one of these is expletive it in a sentence such as, ito yung mga sentences. It is said that he has taken bribes. It can be difficult to come to terms with long-term illness. It's a pity that she can come. And lastly, it's a long way from here to Land's End. So the pronoun it in sentences like these appears to be an expletive. Since it, this one, it cannot be replaced by a referential pronoun like this or that, and cannot be questioned by what. So let's examine the syntax of expletive it by looking at the derivation of a sentence, of the sentence, just like this. Suppose that we have reached the stage of derivation where the passive participle verb said, ito said, has been merged with the CP complement that he has taken bribes to form the VP said that he has taken bribes. So merging this VP with the tense auxiliary BE forms the structure shown in this one. So with this. So in accordance with Pisetsky's earliness principle, no, diba, we might expect that the T agreement to apply at this point. So accordingly, the probe BE, which is active by virtue of its uninterpretable person or number 5 features, searches for an active goal to value its unvalued 5 features. So it might at first sight seem as if the CP headed by that is an appropriate goal and is a third person singular expression which can value the person or number features of BE. However, it seems unlikely that such clauses have person or number features. So, ayun yan siya. So, let's move forward to the face impenetrability condition or PIC. So, stated in a form, the relevant condition clearly begs the question of why a goal positioned below a face head should be impenetrable to a probe position above the face. So, according to Chomsky, he answers that once a complete face has been formed, the domain of the face head, so we're talking here the complement, undergoes a transfer operation by which it is simultaneously sent to the phonological component to be assigned an appropriate phonetic representation, and to the semantic component to be assigned an appropriate semantic representation, and hence no constituent in the relevant domain is thereafter able to undergo any further syntactic operations. So yun siya. So far, what we have established in relation to the structure is that BE cannot agree with that clause, because the latter is inactive and has no 5 features or case feature, nor can be agree with he because PIC or the pick makes he impenetrable to BE. So it is precisely, because BE cannot agree with CP. Actually, BE, no, ang BE cannot agree with the CP or with any of its constituents that the expletive it has to be used in order to satisfy the EPP requirement of the T, and to value the five features of T. So more specifically, let's assume that expletive it, this one, carries the features third person singular number. So since expletive it is a meaningless expletive pronoun, these features will be uninterpretable. Given this assumption, merging it, this one, merging it as the specifier of the T-bar, will derive the structure. So ito na yung structure niya. So yun. So tapos na tayo sa expletive it subject. So now let's move to the expletive there subjects. So having looked at the syntax of expletive it in the previous section, we now turn to look at expletive there. So as a starting point for our discussion, we'll go back to the very first sentence we looked at in this chapter, namely, ito yung kanina, yung pinakaunang sample. There are thought likely to be awarded several prizes. So here is, ito yan siya, ang kanyang structure. So, given the earliness principle, the T agreement will apply at this point in the derivation because BE is the highest head in the structure in that it is the only head in the structure which is not C commanded by another head. And because BE is active by virtue of its uninterpretable five features, BE serves as probe which searches for a nominal goal within the structure containing it. So, the nominal, several prizes can serve as the goal for the probe BE, since several prizes is active by virtue of carrying an uninterpretable case feature by application of feature copying. So the unvalued person and number features on BE are given the same values as those on several prizes. So by application of feature copying, the unvalued person and number features on BE are given the same values as those on several prizes, as shown in simplified form below. So ito na yun siya. So BE thought likely to be awarded several prizes. So third person plural number, and of course, this one, the unvalued case. So next, by application of nominative case assignment, the unvalued case feature of the goal several prizes is assigned the value nominative as shown below. So ito, since the probe BE carries finite tense, more specifically present tense, and since the probe BE and the goal several prizes have matching five feature values because both are third person plural. So yun siya. So let's move forward to the agreement and a movement. So far, we have seen that agreement plays an important role not only in valuing the five features of T, but also in valuing the case features of nominals. To see why, let's return to consider the derivation of our earlier sentence. So yung sentence at example natin kanina, we have, they were arrested. So, assume that the derivation proceeds as sketched earlier with they being merged as the thematic complement of arrested and the resulting VP in return being merged with the tense auxiliary BE to form this structure. So with this structure, the TBE is an active probe by virtue of its uninterpretable person and number features and has an interpretable EPP feature. So it therefore searches for active nominal goals which can value and delete its person or number features. So locating the pronoun they, which is active by virtue of its uninterpretable case feature and which has person and number features which match those of BE. So since the matching goal they is a definite pronoun, the EPP feature of TBE cannot be deleted by merging an expletive in spec TP, but rather can only be deleted by movement of the goal to spec TP. So in accordance and accordingly, no, they move to become the specifier of BE, thereby deleting the uninterpretable EPP feature of BE. So assuming that feature copying, nominative case assignment, and feature deletion work as before, the structure which is formed at the end of the TP cycle. So let's have this one again. So to avoid excessive visual clutter, the trace copy of they, left behind in VP complement position, ito, the they, VP complement position is shown here simply as they, but is in fact an identical copy of they, containing the same features as they. So the same typographical conversion will be used throughout the rest of this chapter. So the TP will subsequently be merged with a null declarative force C, so terminating the syntactic derivations. Since all uninterpretable features have been deleted, the derivation converges. So, yun siya. So example, of course, the result is a syntactic structure which can subsequently be mapped into well-formed phonetic and semantic representations. So that concludes my report in the agreement case in movement. So I hope you've learned something in my report, no, bisan, even if it's hard for us to go to school because of this crisis, still maningkamot gihapon para maka-present ani for all of us. So yun siya. Thank you so much for listening.